This week I learned that I don't have a potty mouth. Jay Kristoff has the potty mouth. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. Happy Thanksgiving to all those in the States that do celebrate. And if you don't, well, hey, have a happy Thanksgiving anyway. I am thankful that you are here, so we will pay it forward that way. Lots of interesting things happen on the channel this week that we're going to talk about, guys. Lots of interesting things, I think, that are going to happen. And maybe some not so interesting things, according to you guys. We'll talk about that. Let's begin, guys, by talking about what am I reading. I did finish reading Rising Sun by Mr. Michael Crichton. You might have heard of him. It was a book that I didn't really talk that much about because I was reading it parallel with something else. So I didn't talk a ton about it like I usually do with a Crichton book. I would say of this reread that we were doing here, this one probably be in my bottom third. I still like the book a lot. Now, look, guys, I don't think Michael Crichton writes bad books, like at all. So to say something has to come in that bottom third, I think. So it's just, you think about some of the big hits we've had up to this point, it's going to have to go there by default, I think. But I do think I appreciate it a lot more at this age than I did reading it as a teenager. Knowing a little bit more things about the business world and the way things work, especially internationally, I think that helped me quite a bit with being able to settle into what that book was trying to do. Now, I look forward to watching the movie for the first time. I never watched the movie because I do talk about the adaptations when I review Michael Crichton books. So that's kind of like my addition that I do. Like, since I can't do it into the multiverse, since it's not a shared universe, that's kind of what I'm doing with the Crichton thing. It's talking about the adaptations. And Wesley Snipes, Sean Connery, it shouldn't be too much of a struggle for me. Then, guys, I started Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. That's one that you guys voted for. Reading it digitally, I am at 51%. And you think, wow, you're going through this really, really quick. I mean, I don't think so. It's been almost a week, and I'm only halfway. But guys, that is a chunky book. It is 812 pages on my Kindle. I don't know how much it is in the physical form. I have, and here's the thing: is I didn't like the U.S. cover that much because I'm not gonna lie, guys. That's what chased me off, making me think it was a YA novel because it's got a vampire shirtless with a sword on the front of it. Where have I seen this before? I mean, I half expected to see Throne of Glass on the front or something like that. But I really love the UK cover. It is just gorgeous. So I paid the extra shipping and have no problems waiting the extra time for that copy to show up because that UK edition is just so beautiful. I didn't get like the colored edges or anything like that. Those are rather expensive at this point. Just the regular UK hardcover. I think it's HarperCollins that does it. Really, really nice. So I'm looking forward to getting that one. I hope it shows up before December so I can put it in my November book haul so I can show it off because it looks really, really nice. But as far as the book, guys, I have been pleasantly surprised. Right now, I mean, we're at the halfway point, unless he really just shits the bed in the second half of the story, which I've been led to believe will not be the case. I've heard he actually does stick his landings really, really well. This is going to be a top 10 book for me this year, I think. It's really good, guys. I have been saying that. I've been waiting for someone to take back the vampire genre for us adults, and I think Mr. Kristoff might be putting a good foot forward here. But the thing about this is that this guy, he has swear combinations and modifiers down to like an Abercrombie level. I mean, they're so good. I thought that I thought my wife, the redhead, I thought she had a potty mouth before I read this book because, oh my God, the language in this. And it isn't like in a way where just toilet humor. It isn't anything like that. It really is some well thought out. Like, how did he come up with that one? There's some really good ones. Twat Goblin's one of my favorite ones. I've been saying that a little too much lately. But anyway, guys, it's a book that I think if you're not really into bad language, I don't think that they obviously, I wouldn't call it grimdark, guys. I mean, I don't know really what I would put it as right now. It's just adult fantasy. But I think you'll like it because it does have like 3 different timelines. I know there's a lot of people people are going to jump on me and say, well, you didn't like Liza Locklamora, because I think that this is doing it right. This is doing it the right way. So there's that. But again, it's going to get a lot of those comparisons because it has the timeline that is out of order. It's being told as a story, and it's being told about when he was younger and when it was right before he is where he's in the situation he's at now. So I think it can be tough for some people to grasp, but those multiple storylines, I think at first I was kind of like, I really like this other stuff. I'm not really feeling this other one now. I like that one every bit as much, if not more. So I'm interested to see where the story goes the rest of the way. I'm having a great time with it. And I know I'll be the last person out there to review this book, because if you go on BookTube and you just type in, Empire of the Vampire, Jay Kristoff book review, you'll get like 3,000 results for it. But again, since it's the one that you guys voted for, and if you want me to review it, I'm going to do that. But very, very positive on it so far. I'm very excited. Right now, like I said, I'm at the 51% mark. It's probably going to stay there for a minute because, guys, it is Thanksgiving. I do have a family and stuff. We got stuff going on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. I don't know how much I'm going to get to read during that span. And, then Madison and I got to get together for As the Wheel Turns, which I'll talk about in a minute. But, yeah, so it's going to be a busy weekend, so I don't know. I'm still hoping to finish this by the 1st, which we'll talk about when I get to what I'm going to read. But let's begin with, let's actually continue here with what am I reading. I did do volumes number 27 and 28 of Berserk. I want to bring that up because, yes, every single video, even that Foo Fighters one I just did, which did terrible numbers, even that got a comment about, are you still reading Berserk? So, guys, yes, I'm still reading Berserk. It goes through, Falcon Millennium Empire goes through volume 35. I just finished 28, so we're getting closer, okay? So bear with me. I'm reading about 2 or 3 of those a week, all right? I'm not going to read much further than that. Again, written word takes a priority for me on this channel, but I am excited to finally be able to get to the end of this arc and talk some more Berserk because I am really, really enjoying it. Now, what am I going to read? Now, obviously, so things are going to be a little delayed because of Thanksgiving, but I am going to try to finish up Empire of the Vampire, continue working through Berserk, because that's on December the 1st, guys, is the next Malazan book, which is Reaper's Gale. Book number 7. Oh my God, I can't believe we're already at 7. And I would say already, we're almost at the end of a year since we started this. But yeah, it's just been a fun year, I think. And realizing, wow, we're really in the home stretch now. Book number 7 of 10. It's wild to think that this will be over 6 months from now, right? But here's the thing is the warband is so small now. I mean, which we knew was going to happen with a series like Malazan. We knew a high tap-out rate, higher than any series tap-out rate I've ever seen. So I knew that warband was going to be a little smaller, but I don't know if I need to prioritize starting it on the 1st anymore, because there's a lot of people who want to read Godblind with me, and they wanted me to wait until December, and then they're going to have to wait for me to finish a Malazan book. I think that would be just kind of rude. So I don't know. We'll kind of play that by ear and see how it goes. Feedback from you guys, as always, is appreciated, but I do want to make sure that I'm reading Godblind, because there's a group of us reading Empire of the Vampire together right now. It's fun. It's so fun reading stuff at the same time as everybody else. So I got a group of us that are going to read Godblind by Anna Stevens together. So I want to make sure that I am kind of prioritizing that. Even though I know Malazan is the big marquee thing on the channel, I just feel like right now I probably got more people willing to read Godblind with me than I do having to read Malazan with me. So it's just one of those things that's still going to happen, the same schedule and all that stuff. I just don't know if I'm going to make sure that I drop everything on the 1st like I have the last few books. Let's talk about this week on the channel a little bit. No surprise here, guys. It was Wheel of Time week. And I hope that if you aren't watching Wheel of Time, I hope you bared with me a little bit. You got to understand, guys, this is the biggest thing going on in the fantasy community right now, this adaptation. I mean, this is a big deal. So Madison and I wanted to give it the attention it deserved by giving each episode its own episode of As the Wheel Turns. And I want to thank her again for finding the time, because, guys, we got small kids and stuff and families, and coming up on the holidays and stuff. It was hard. It's hard for us to make sure our schedules match to talk 3 hours about a TV show. So I thank her for doing that, find the time to do that with me, because I think it's great having it as a chance to banter back and forth instead of just me talking about Wheel of Time and stuff. But yeah, a lot of fun doing that. I think that we had a pretty positive spin on it, which has been kind of a mixed reaction in the comments because of our positive spin on it. I think one person even told me I had battered wife syndrome, and I'm like, might be projecting a little bit, but yeah, it's look, the first episode, that's the longest because we want to give our initial thoughts of the show and things like that. So that one's about an hour, and the each concurrent episode is about 40 minutes, So I know that might be long for some people, but this is two people's opinion. We're talking about the entire show. We're breaking it down. We're talking about the differences from the book and stuff. So it's something that we really enjoy doing. So I hope you guys are enjoying it with us, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Then the only other video I did, because I did 3 of those this week, and the only other one I did was I reviewed that Dave Grohl autobiography, which is the worst tracked video that I have on this channel in almost 2 years. I think you have to go back to when I first started the weekly update to find a worse first 12 hours for a video on this channel. Yeah, you can track it by that. First 12 hours, like as of recording this video, I think it had like 700 views. So I knew that that was going to be, not going to get as much attention as others. I mean, it's the first nonfiction book I've done on this channel, and then I talked about the Foo Fighters albums on it. And again, that's why when people ask me why I won't talk about music more, that's why, guys, because that kind of stuff isn't what people are here for. They're here to hear about the fantasy books, I'm pretty sure. But you know what? I love Foo Fighters. I love that Dave Grohl book. I wanted to talk about it. And you know what? Everything that I do on this channel, I try to do stuff that's pleasing to the audience. But once in a while, like the Off the Book segment and like that video, I want to do some stuff that I want to talk about, because Foo Fighters is something that I love. It's one of my favorite bands ever, so I want to talk about it. I got a lot of people asking if I'm going to talk about the Get Back Beatles documentary. I am, but I don't know if I'm going to do a video about it because, I'm a Beatle maniac, so of course I'm going to do that. But again, that's why I'm not doing a ton of stuff that's not books related, unless it's just the one off the books every month or two or something like that. And definitely, probably be staying away from nonfiction for another minute, but it is a great book, and I hope you guys will check it out. And it's a great band. You got 10 albums worth of material to mine if you haven't done that yet. Let's talk about a little bit about next week plans, guys. Now, this is always up in the air because we don't know what's going to happen with the holidays and all that. I know I've been putting off that Joel's Game review, guys. Look, I've got the introduction recorded. That's usually the hardest part for a video like that. Just got to put together my multiverse connections, and I should be able to record that one and get it up and out sometime this coming week. If I have time, I'm going to try to get that Wayward Pines trilogy review out there as well. But again, this just really comes down to how much time I have, and we will also be doing our As the Wheel Turns episode number 4 of season 1. I believe it is called The Dragon Reborn. I saw the preview for it, and it's very Logain. Sorry, a friend of mine just had a baby named Logan. Logain centric, and it looks awesome. The dude playing Logain looks like he's just going to crush it. So I'm really excited to see. And people I believe and trust and have kind of a similar opinion about me as this adaptation that have seen the first 6 episodes have said episode 4 is the best one that you will see yet. So, fingers crossed, because I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes, so I'm looking forward. It's going to be tough just doing one episode, a week now, the rest of the way. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's really all I got on tap for next week, guys. Not a lot going on elsewise. Like I said, in case you missed it, I'm going down to 3 videos a week here pretty soon. I know that with the Wheel of Time episodes, it seemed like, hey, you just still did 5 this week, but, things happen sometimes. But I like it to be... if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But with the holiday week, it just all kind of depends on the time. But let's talk about a little bit of TV and movie talk. A lot of things going on here that I want to talk about. Obviously, first I want to talk about these Wheel of Time reactions. My suggestion, guys, is if you have an opportunity, watch Wheel of Time with a friend, if you can, even if it's a long distance. Madison and I knew we were going to be doing a show together, so we said we're going to watch at the same time. We're going to start like a text thread and react to everything. And it was just so much fun. It felt like, watching with a friend. It was really fun. I thought it was a good time. So I think if you have the opportunity to do that, I would really recommend doing that if you can't do like a watch party or something like that. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. But as far as these reaction goes, I guess I'd say, look, I knew that there was going to be some negative reaction regardless of how good or bad it was. I didn't expect it to be on this level. Because look, guys, people may not think now, but when Game of Thrones came out, the book fans were pissed off. They thought it was terrible. The dire wolves look stupid. Tyrion's too handsome. Things like that. And we got all kinds of the same complaints. Not quite to this level. I remember when Fellowship of the Ring came out. Book fans hated, J.R.R. Tolkien would hate this. This is not true to his story at all. They're not singing. It's not fun. It's too dark. That's the same kind of criticism you're hearing about Wheel of Time. Now, look, I'm not saying it's above criticism. I'm just saying, if you don't like the show, you are 100% welcome to not like it. But drop it in the comments with me and Madison and telling us that we're lying or something like that. If you haven't watched this channel before, you don't know, I don't bullshit about that stuff. If I don't like something, I'm going to tell you. So telling us that we have Stockholm Syndrome or something, like, we ain't getting any kickbacks from Amazon. I think I may be the only big-ish creator out there that Amazon didn't ask to be a part of their Wheel of Time content. So I would never say anything because Amazon asked me to. They wouldn't even give me a demo unit to talk about Kindles, and I've sold about 400 of them for them. So yeah, I'm definitely not on Bezos' payroll or anything like that, but we pretty much are enjoying most of the show. We're able to look at this from a showrunner perspective and say, I know they're not going to be able to do this way. I probably wouldn't have done that, but let's wait and see what they're doing creatively. So I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt. I do like that Brandon Sanderson stepped up and basically the people are like, Rafe Judkins got a character's age wrong. He just doesn't know the books. He did stand and say, look, you can tell Brandon Sanderson has problems with some of the changes that they made, and he let them know that he didn't like those changes, and he recommended other options, and they didn't take them. But he does really go to bat for Rafe Judkins and saying that these people are passionate about the books. And you know what? Sometimes you're just going to mess some things up. I mean, he said he messed up the oaths when he started writing this series, So it happens, guys. Nobody's perfect, especially in these off-the-cuff interviews. It's going to happen sometimes. I want to say people will eventually relax or they'll just tap out. So there's that. We'll see. But first 3 episodes, like I said, we got the reviews up there. You can check them out if you want them. But the negative reaction is not surprising. I guess I'm kind of surprised it was on this level of hatred because, guys, you just probably... It's the only fantasy adaptation you've ever seen, Game of Thrones. Because, guys, I remember how bad every fantasy adaptation seemed to be before that. It was rough. It was rough. Go back and ask Legend of the Seeker fans. I mean, there are some. You're probably laughing, but there were some. Ask them how they felt when that series came out. How about Legend of Earthsea when that came out? So saying that it's like the worst fantasy adaptation ever, you guys are just being a little over the top. But again, I'm not here to tell you that you can't dislike it. That's completely fine. I can see why someone might not like it. So again, I think maybe we'll just be grown-ups about it. I don't know. I doubt it. It is the internet. You hear that the success of Wheel of Time, Amazon's quite happy. Said they had high expectations for it, and it exceeded them. So they're like Netflix. They don't have to release the number of viewers that have watched these, but they are very happy with it, enough so that apparently they're nailing down the rights to adapt Mass Effect, a very popular video game series. That is intriguing, guys, because I think in many of my live streams probably before have said I think Mass Effect might be the second best sci-fi universe I've ever experienced outside of Star Wars. I think that universe is just so rich and just has so much stuff to explore. Now, as far as adaptation goes, I'm pretty sure that'll be like the people that are making Gears of War, like, well, we're not making it like the game though. I'm like, why are you doing it? Mass Effect, I think, has a strong enough story that you really got a blueprint to follow there, and it could be really, really good if they really are going to sink some money into it. So more fantasy, more sci-fi, bring it on. I want to see some of these things that we thought we'd never get to see adapted, and I think that the consumer wins when things like this happen. So we want these things to do good. So stop review bombing Wheel of Time on Amazon, guys. It's stupid. How about this Get Back documentary with the Beatles? Yes, guys, look, I've got 2 favorite bands, the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, then there's everybody else, right? I mean, I love so much music, so many bands that we can talk about, but that's my end-all, be-all, those 2 bands right there. So this Beatles documentary that's coming out called Get Back, it's about them recording the album Let It Be, which turned out to be their last album. And Peter Jackson has been going through, I think they said he had like 57 hours of uncut footage of these gentlemen making this album. And there's so much stuff just from like the previews that we Beatlemaniacs have never seen before. I thought we'd seen most of this stuff when they put out an anthology back in the 90s. So much stuff. And what he's done with this footage, he's cleaned it up so much, you guys. It looks like this. It looks real. It looks like, it is real, but I mean, it looks brand new. It looks like it was recorded like last year. It's amazing. It's amazing what they've done with that. Like he did that with that World War II stuff, World War II in color, I think it was called. So I thought it was definitely the guy to do it, and putting it in the hands of someone that is a Beatlemaniac, I think is a great, great idea. So that is coming out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I believe. 3 parts. It's going to be 8 hours long. 3 parts, 8 hours long. And I say, give it to me. And I say, don't let me down. I can't wait, guys. Huge, huge Beatles fan. So I can't wait to see this. That'll be the first thing I think I'm watching on Disney Plus since Mandalorian. So there is that. I want to close this off by talking about Ghostbusters, guys, because I went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife with my kids about 2 hours ago. And guys, it was great. It was great. And I say that as someone who grew up with the original, obviously. I think when I was my youngest, I was his age when my folks took me to see the original Ghostbusters. So I always love paying it forward for stuff like that, sharing those things with your kids. But yeah, guys, it was so good. If you can avoid spoilers going into this, I think it will really assassinate you emotionally if you go into it without having anything spoiled for you, because I didn't know nothing outside of the trailer for it about what was going to be in it. So there were lots of surprise appearances in it that really got me, and I will not lie to you guys, the last 10 minutes, I was rolling tears. It was that well done. So I give Sony Studios a lot of shit on this channel, a lot, about how incompetent they handle huge IPs, and they have handled Ghostbusters poorly before this. But I got to give the devil his due here. This was a great, great movie, and it really In my opinion, I love that it went out of its way to say, basically, without actually saying that 2016 movie is not canon, because Paul Rudd does say in the movie, it's been 30 years since a ghost sighting. This is very much the end of a trilogy of Ghostbusters movies. Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and now Ghostbusters Afterlife. A very, very beautiful tribute, I think, to Harold Ramis in this. Very, very good stuff. So, guys, if you grew up loving the original, just if you like the original at all, and if you like, you know what, Ghostbusters 2 isn't as bad as people act like it is. It just couldn't touch that first one. The first one's just all-time classic, right? I think that you'll have so much to really appreciate about this movie, and your kids are going to love it too. There's some stuff with the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in this one that my kids were just dead laughing. So I think it's great for all audiences. And here's the thing, guys, is you see how much the critics dislike this and how much audiences are liking this, and now it is exceeding its box office. Do you know why? Because they're not making fans the enemy. You know, I've been saying for a while now, when did pleasing the fans become a bad thing? Does this movie rely too much on nostalgia? A couple of times. There's even some straight up quotes that are straight from the first movie. They're like, okay, yeah, it's fun, but it might be nice, but it's not done that much. It's not done like it's some of those other movies where like, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Remember how you liked that one movie? It doesn't do that as much. And I think this really relies on this young cast a ton. And the young cast is brilliant. They are really, really good. Although it's crazy seeing Finn Wolfhard's like a grown-ass man now. I mean, it's like, guys, Stranger Things really that old? Yeah, so great flick, guys. I think that the whole family will love it. And again, if you've watched the originals and love the originals, you're going to have a blast with it, I think. It really is a fitting tribute to those movies, and done very respectfully by Ivan Reitman, the son of was it Jason Reitman? I'm getting the names wrong. I'm getting mixed up. Jason Reitman did it for Ivan Reitman. Anyway, the guy who directed Ghostbusters 1 and 2, his son directed Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I think it's just a great love letter, I think, to the fans and the franchise. It's basically what we should have got in 2016, I think. So it feels like the apology, and it's very well accepted from me. I don't hold the I don't represent the entire fandom, but I'm very, very happy with it. It feels like a fitting end to a franchise I have loved my whole life and has really kind of transcended time. Because I mean, I look in the audience, dude, it was kids. I mean, my kids' age, younger, and at the end where they're playing the famous Ghostbusters song, the entire audience is singing along and going, "Dan it, Dan it, Dan it." It was so good. So good, just shouting Ghostbusters. So, yeah, it's a great time at the box office. And guys, it's the first time I've been to a movie theater since I took my kid to see Shazam 3 years ago. So that shows this is the kind of movie that I want to support because, again, it was made for the fans, and I want them to see that fans aren't the enemy. You guys, it's okay to make a movie that's maybe a little flawed, I think, but is good for the fans. Nostalgia isn't a bad thing. It really isn't. So that was my week, guys. I hope you guys have a great, great holiday weekend and had a great weekend so far. Why don't you go ahead and drop in the comments, tell me what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're playing, all of those things and more. There are no wrong answers, guys, and I hope to talk to you in the comments. Have a great Thanksgiving.